Hey everybody, welcome back to homerecordingmadeeasy.com, and here on my YouTube channel, in this time out, we're going to listen to another drum playing example. We're going to listen to some microphones. We are going to now listen to a full array of Roswell Pro Audio microphones on the entire drum kit here. We're going to listen to that played with the backing track, and then we're going to bring it into Studio One later, and we're going to mess around with some EQ and compression and see how these Roswell microphones sound. But before we get to that, if you like what you see in the video, please hit subscribe. And by the way, YouTube Analytics tells good old Uncle Dave that nearly 70% of the people that watch this channel are not subscribed. Please, if you're watching this video and you're not subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. It really does help, and I really do appreciate it. Also, if this is your first time here, go to homerecordingmadeeasy.com. I want to give you a free $100 mixing course. It's my gift to you just for visiting Home Recording Made Easy. And if you stick around till the end, as usual, I'm going to give you another goodie for free. So here we are behind the drum kit here, and we have microphones around the whole drum kit. So I want to tell you what microphones we're using. I'm going to try to shoot some B-roll to give you some photos and or videos of where we have everything placed. It is a really tight space in here, so it's hard to get the camera in here, but I'm going to do it for you, so don't worry. So what are we working with? We're working with a drum space here that's about 15 feet wide by about 12 feet in width, with almost 8.5 foot ceilings here. Concrete floors with an area rug on the ground. We are using my Gretsch Catalina Maple drum set here, an affordable drum set, brand new from Sweetwater. This was like a $900 drum set shipped to my door. We are using all Remo Ambassador coated heads on the snares, the toms, and we are using an Evans EMAD system on the kick drum. The size of the drum shells are 14 by 6 snare, 12 by 13 rack tom, 16 by 16 floor tom. You might be able to see with the overhead camera. For cymbals, we're using all Sabian, the A8X series. We're using a 16-inch crash, dark crash, a 20-inch ride, an 18-inch crash, and a Sabian set of 14-inch hi-hats. That's the gear. All the links will be in the description box below, so you can check those out at Sweetwater, and those are my affiliate links. Thank you so much in advance. And by the way, the microphones, Roswell Pro Audio, this is a sponsored video in that, I think it's sponsored. They gave me the microphone so I could bring this review to you, but they're on loan. I don't keep them, I can't keep them. So I'm not getting anything except to borrow them. They're not paying me for any of the videos that I've done here on the Roswell mics, and we've done a few already. You can check the link in the description box and see how we did one microphone, miking up the whole drum kit, 3 different Roswell microphones, and we also did acoustic guitar recording with the same 3 Roswell microphones. So, they're on loan, they're going back, I don't get to keep them. They didn't pay me for the video. They don't know when the videos are going live. They don't tell me what to say, blah, 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 blah. So is it sponsored? Let's be safe and say it's sponsored, because I got a chance to borrow the microphones and bring it to you, but that's all I get out of it, just a way to create content for you. But I will say, Roswell Pro Audio microphones are really, really great for the money. Really, really great for the money. All these microphones we're going to talk about today, I believe, are less than $500 US, and some are even below $400 US. Check the link in the description box for current pricing. So what are we using, Uncle Dave? Good question, let me tell you. So, I got them written down here. On our kick drum, we are using the Mini K47KD, just leaning inside the sound hold here on the kick drum. For the snare, we're using the Roswell Mic Parts snare mic. Right here, looks like a little Neumann microphone. This is a really, really cool microphone. On the toms, both the rack tom and the floor tom, we are using the Mic Parts, which is made by Roswell, S25TT, as in Tom Tom, S25 Tom Tom, for the 12-inch rack and for the 16-inch floor tom. On the overheads, we are using a pair of Mini K67Xs. They are about, I don't know, from the snare drum about 4 feet above the drum kit, 4.5 feet above the drum kit, equal distance from the capsules to the center of the snare. I measured those out for us, so we have less phasing problems. And then on the room mic, across the room over there, we have a Mini K87 that we're using. And then on the kit itself, like, I don't know, about 3 feet in front of the drum set here, about 3.5 feet in the air, we are using a Mini K47. So we're using K47s, we're using K87s, K67s, the mic part snare and tom mic, and a K47 KD mic on the kick drum. That's what we're doing here today. So all these microphones were all wired up, ready to go. They're going into the PreSonus Studio Live 32SSX mixer, no compression, no EQ, straight on in, so we can bring it over into Studio One later and play around maybe with some EQ and compression. I'm gonna play to a backing track here so you can hear this in the context with music, which I think is important. The backing track that I'm gonna use is by my good friends from a band in the great state of Connecticut called Laini The Wildfire. Now, if you've been watching my channel for any length of time here, and if you've been watching these drum videos over the last several weeks, we have featured Laini The Wildfire a whole bunch. We're using the song Dime. They've been very, very gracious to not only let Uncle Dave use their song for this demonstration, but the drummer of Laini The Wildfire, Rob, is allowing me to strip away his drum performance so Uncle Dave can play in his place. Don't worry, Rob, your job is safe. Uncle Dave can't play nearly as good as you. I'm gonna try to do your song justice to some degree. So Uncle Dave got a chance to take away the drum parts. Laini The Wildfire was really gracious and said, sure, Dave, use the track however you want. We've also featured Laini The Wildfire quite a bit over at the Mixing Music Analog YouTube channel, where we did a full mix on their song, on this song Dime, by the way. Great, great tune. So thank you so much to Laini The Wildfire for allowing me to use your song, and I'll try not to ruin it too much for you. Check the link in the description box for Laini The Wildfire and go show them some love, because they're an awesome band with awesome music. You're gonna dig them. All their links will be in the description box below. So now we got all that out of the way. So I'm gonna play to the song Dime, and somewhere in the middle of the song here in video editing, I'm gonna take away the backing track so you can hear the drums on their own, and then I'll fade the backing track in so you can hear it in context with the mix. And then we're gonna head on over to Studio One. So give me a second to cut away here, and I'll come back and watch the performance that I'm gonna have here to the song Dime by Laini The Wildfire. Okay, guys, so we're back here in Studio One, obviously, and let's take a listen to this recording. So basically what I did was I've just imported all the individual tracks here: kick, snare, the rack and the floor, overheads left and right, room, and the kit mic that we talked about. Right now there's EQs on air, but nothing's been done as far as I didn't do any EQ. I routed that to a drum bus, which I have a drum bus compressor on, which we'll talk about in a bit. Right now it's turned off, and I muted the backing track. So let's just kind of listen to the raw recording. Now, the only thing I did do is in the rack tom and the floor tom, I took all the bleed between the hits out. There wasn't a ton of bleed, but I took some of it out just to keep them clean. So here's what we got, just putting all the faders at 0. Here's what this recording sounds like, the drum recording, just the drums. I mean, sounds pretty good. Let's go over to where the big floor tom fill is, and then oddly enough, I only have one rack tom hit in this song here, and we'll kind of listen to that. The Ragtime mic sounds really good. Okay, so now if I were to just, let's unmute the backing tracks here and let's just listen to the raw recording kind of sitting with the backing track. And again, obviously this is not mixed, but just so you can get a feel for the sound of these Roswell mics. Here we go. Okay, so it sounds pretty good. Let's put a little EQ and compression on this thing. Let's start with our kick drum here. I'll turn this up so you can hear it. Let's put this little EQ. This is the Mini 47 KD mic. Get a little bit of that snare bleed, but now the thing about this microphone, you know, it's a condenser mic, so I got it just kind of stuck in the hole. If you remember back earlier in the video, the one thing, this would be a good combination with, I think if I was going to do a kick drum with two mics, I would use maybe the KD, the Mini KD on the outside, just on the Rezo head, and then maybe get something like an Audix D6 or a smaller microphone that I can get inside the kick drum to get to the beater. I couldn't really do that with the microphone that we, you know, with the placement. So keep that in mind. So a little bit of a compromise, but I didn't want to add any additional microphones to this particular video because we're really just demonstrating the Roswell mics. But I think this would be great if you put this like as you have a kick in and a kick out. Maybe the kick-in mic is something like an Audix D6 or something like that, and then, or an RE20 where you can get it in there, and then put the Mini 47 KD on the outside of the kick drum. A little bit of the slap without putting it, when we could put a gate on this too, but for now. We got some low end in there. Let's go to the snare. Now, the one thing that surprised me on the snare, which I really like, is if you listen to the snare on its own, look, listen to how thick the snare sounds. A lot of the weight in there, you don't really get the real top end. Like on a 57, like you get a lot of top end, but you don't get any body. This is really great. And also, we're going to EQ this. I'm going to show you how we can get it nice and crisp. But listen to, remember, if you remember the mic placement, it's right underneath the hi-hats. Listen to the rejection of the hi-hat. There's almost no hi-hat bleed at all in here. And this is important. This is part of the design, the way this microphone was designed. It really has great rejection from the back. The snare, the hi-hats really don't bleed in. So when we want to increase the top end of that snare to get the crack, we're not going to get any hi-hat bleed. Listen to the hi-hat. Really quiet. It's not really noticeable. So let's get some EQ out here on this now. Let's see if we can get a shelf happening here. Let me get some of that ring out here. Oops. So right around that 175 mark, we got kind of a ring in there. Okay, let's bring the overheads in. I got left and right here on the overheads. And we can EQ this. Again, they're separate, but let's start with just the one. Maybe I'll bring them back to the center here. So let's bring them back to this. Oops. Sorry about that. Come on now. There we go. There we go. Let's do this. Just do the left for now. That brings out the crack in the snare quite a bit. So here's just the overheads. Okay, so there's kick, snare, overheads. Let's go to the room. The room mic, which is, well, actually, let's do the kit mic. The kit mic is the one in front of the drum kit. Little thinner sounding. That helps with a little bit of the kick drum as well. Now let's bring that rack tom in. Let's EQ that up a little bit. Actually, that rack tom, oddly enough, sounds pretty good on its own. Doesn't seem like it needs a whole lot of EQ. Sounds great, actually. It's going to roll off a little bit of the low ends. Maybe a little bit of the mids. Just take a little bit out of 500. Sounds fine to me. Let's pan that a little bit to the left. No, that's the kit mic, sorry. The rack tom a little bit to the left. Let's go to that floor tom. We have a little build up here, right? The little build. I mean, these tom mics sound fantastic. You almost need no EQ. I can almost leave them flat, but just in the spirit of just trying to whip this thing together so we can get a feel. What's the last thing we got to do? Just the rooms, right? Okay, let's do the room mic quickly. Here's the Mini K87, right? The thing I like about these overheads too, we're using the Mini 67Xs. I love the fact that the cymbals don't sound too shrill. I mean, these are decent cymbals too, and I know the metal has a lot to do with the quality of the cymbal, but those are just kind of mid-priced Sabian AXX or AAX cymbals. They're not really high-end cymbals. They're not budget cymbals either, but they sound smooth, which is what I like. The only thing I wish this had, and again, it's me, not the microphone, is this kick drum mic. I either have a bigger porthole where I can get that KD way in close to the beater, or like I said, have an in and an out kind of a thing. Because on this song, I'd be like a little bit more point on the kick, and on this, it's a little more pillowy because of the position of the microphone. Now, you could add a sample to it and blend the sample and all of that. So that's not a fault of the microphone. That's a fault of Uncle Dave and not having the mic in the right place there, based on, you know, some of the limitations that I have with the kick drum over there. But overall, sounds pretty good. Let's put a little bit of compression on the drum bus just to see how that helps. So I got the Slate Digital FG Gray out here, the SSL dealio. Let's see what that does. So using a high pass filter at 60 Hertz so we don't get the low end triggering the compressor. Doing a 4-to-1 just because we're only compressing on the bus just for this example. Fast release, slow attack, gives a little bit of tightness. Like to get a little bit more balance here on this snare. Maybe pull that out of the overheads a little bit, a little too much EQ there. And again, obviously we're doing this quick, right? Trying to keep this video somewhat manageable. In length. I'm not ashamed. Okay, let's see where we started. So let's take away all the effects. EQ compression. You got the money, I got needs. Gotta live, gotta love, got a soul to feed. You can pay me. I am already rich in dreams. So don't try to sell me on your scheme. I know. So I think they'd sit really well. Again, for the price of these microphones, and you got to keep that in mind, there's a lot less. In other words, to me, you know, traditionally when I'm using drum mics, I'm using things like, 421s on the toms, 57s on the snares, maybe a pair of condensers on the overheads. And it seems like you got to do a lot more EQ and a lot more carving out to get things to sit right. This sounds pretty good right out of the box with very minimal amount of EQ. The only thing too on this snare, because it's got a lot of low end in it, a lot of tubbiness in the snare. So you got to be aware of that. But I love the fact that this snare mic does a lot of rejection, so you don't get a lot of hi-hat bleed. This could also be, again, if you wanted to experiment, maybe use this to get the bottom end of the snare, and then maybe even a 57. And we're only miking the top here. We're not miking underneath. I didn't have enough microphones to do that. So using some of these Roswell mics in combination with maybe some other microphones, depending on your drum setup, would be great. But I think these things sound fantastic. And again, all these mics are less than 500 bucks. I mean, those tom mics are great. The overheads, I'm using the 67Xs, as I said, but you could have easily used the K47s, or you could have used the 87s. They sound great. So I think it sounds really good. I'm really happy. It's you know, going through that PreSonus Studio Live, you know, a little bit of cleanup, and it sounds good.
Oh, a job's a job, not an identity. Lie, 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 don't have to love your occupation. Work is what you make it. Lie, 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 getting paid is a transaction. Labor you can cash it. Oh, you and I.
And you could even put a drum bus EQ if you wanted to carve it a little more. And then we'll finish up this video. Again, you could check all the links in the description box for the Roswell Pro Audio microphones. Again, go send them some love. Again, this is not a sponsored video. I got to send all the microphones back, so I don't get anything out of this by telling you this. I think it's pretty good for what you're. Let me throw a little bit of color on this. Let's see. Let's maybe get something like let's get like this the VMR by Slate Digital and throw like maybe an EVQ or something on that, just to see what it would sound like. And then we'll button up this video. So again, while we're waiting for this to load, I want to thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Again, 70% of you watching this video are not subscribed. Please help Uncle Dave by subscribing. It really means a lot, and I really do appreciate it. And also, go out to homerecordingmadeeasy.com. Get that free mixing course. It's right on the homepage. It's $100. You can't miss it. It's my gift to you just for visiting homerecordingmadeeasy.com. And again, if you want to take one of my full-fledged training courses, I'm going to give you 25% discount coupon code any minute here. Let's put this Neve on here. Let's go ahead and let's boost up a little bit more on the low end. Take a little mid out. Even saturate it a little. So there you go. You put a little EQ on it, you can get it even better. So again, if you take one of my full-length training courses, after you take that free course, use the coupon code YouTube25. You put that in at checkout, it'll take 25% off anything on the website. Once again, check out Roswell Pro Audio microphones. They're great. Go show them some love. Again, if you're looking for some decent quality microphones at a reasonable price, you want something that sounds more high-end and not breaking the bank, I don't know that you can get better microphones that sound this good for under 500 bucks. I don't think there's such a thing, at least in my opinion. The other thing too is make sure you go check out the video where we recorded just one drum mic on this kit, and then also on the acoustic guitar video where I compared the 47, the 87, and the 67X on acoustic guitar. They sound wonderful. Great all-purpose mics. So thanks again to Matt and the team over at Roswell Pro Audio for sending these. I'll make sure I get them back to you soon enough. And again, like, share, subscribe, and until the next video, I've been Dave with homerecordingmadeeasy.com. Thank you so very much for watching me today, everybody, and I'll see you guys soon.